Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Lebanon Utility Service Board for Wednesday, November 20th, 2024. Let the record show that all board members are present tonight and the meeting was properly advertised. There was also a working session prior. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
All right, I'd like to ask for public comment at the beginning and end of each of our meetings, so we will do that at the moment. We have anyone from the public that would like to make comments tonight? All right, we will ask again at the end of the meeting. Our first item tonight is the approval of our minutes from the October 23rd, 2024 meeting. We have a few minutes that we need to approve retroactively. Everyone had a chance to review those October 23rd minutes, and if so, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the minutes from the October 23rd, 2024 meeting.
Second.
Motion made by Ann and seconded by Aaron to approve the minutes from the October 23rd, 2024 meeting. Any additional questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, we'll jump to the approval of the November 4th, 2024 minutes. Same thing. Everyone had a chance to review those. If so, I will entertain a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for November the 4th, 2024.
Second. Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve our minutes from the November 4th, 2024 meeting. Any additional questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, and finally to the November 6th, 2024 meeting minutes. Everyone had a chance to review those. If so, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve minutes from November 6th, 2024.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Bill to approve the minutes from the November 6th, 2024 meeting. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next action item tonight is the printer lease, and Seth Bird is here from our technology department to present that. Hey, Seth.
Hello. Thank you. So the utilities, we currently have a 60-month printer and lease and maintenance agreement with Braden, which expires in December 20th of this year. So I request that the utilities continues leasing printers for our printing needs. Looking at it, we felt leasing is still the best option versus buying a whole new fleet of printers and servicing and maintaining them ourselves. So we'd like to enter into a new lease maintenance agreement for another period of 60 months. That's kind of the standard amount we've done the last 2 times we've done our printer leases. So I gathered proposals from our current vendor, Braden, and also one from Sharp Business Systems. And after review and discussions with some key Lebanon Utilities personnel, I recommend we continue with Braden for our next lease and maintenance agreement. The lease price, which is for 15 printers, so we have currently 14. We're going to be adding 1 printer to the next lease, so total 15 printers. The lease fixed price is $689 a month. So that's a flat cost for the 60 months per month for the total amount of printers. The maintenance price, though, will vary based on our print quality, our print quantities per month. The way the maintenance works is we are charged a fee per color print per printer and per black and white print per printer, and it does vary on the printer model. Some are more expensive than others. For estimation purposes, both vendors took our last 6-month total averages of color and black and white to give us a estimated maintenance cost. And so the maintenance cost for one was $515.27 a month for maintenance. Both those prices came from the Braden proposal. The Braden proposal came in a little lower than the Sharp proposal. We've been happy with Braden for, I think this would be our 3rd time using them, 3rd renewal with them. We used them for the last 5 years. I believe we used them for the 5 years before. Talked with our IT staff. find out how many service calls we had, how the printers were functioning and working out for most users, and then talk to a couple of our heavier users and some of our heavier departments to see what their thoughts are with the companies, as I don't do a lot of printing myself. So I wanted to see, if they were having any issues or had any reason they maybe didn't want to stay with who we were using. And so what I would like to request is I would like to request the board approve the agreement with Braden and stay with Braden for the lease and maintenance of printers for the Lebanon utilities for a period of 60 months with a total lease cost over that 60 months of $41,340 and then an estimated maintenance cost of $30,916.20 for a total of approximately $72,256. And like I said, again, the maintenance costs will vary because it is based on how much we actually print of each type on which printers we print on. Any questions on that?
Makes sense. So this is approximately $6,000 a year for service and equipment for this lease.
That math would probably work out. I looked at the
Yeah.
whole and the individual. I didn't do the totals for that.
Okay. Any,
How do they upgrade technology? Is that part of the agreement too? I mean, I understand the cost.
Sorry, what was the question?
When do they update technology? Is that part of this agreement?
So I guess I could have given a little breakdown. So what we have is we currently have 14 printers. With the Braden proposal, all but I believe 5 of them are going to be replaced with brand new models.
Okay.
Reason for that is the ones that are being replaced are end of life from the manufacturer. The 5 that we're looking at keeping and continuing through on the next lease either are still in service or have just gone end of life. And since parts are required to be made for these printers for 7 years, continually, Braden said they had no problem being able to service and maintain those for that 5 years. The Sharp proposal, which differed, would have been, since they're a completely different vendor, would have been all new printers across the fleet.
Okay, thank you.
all right, my math was off there, Seth. It's closer to $14,000 a year for the maintenance and equipment. So any other questions for Seth on the printer lease? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve the agreement with Braden for the lease and maintenance of printers for Lebanon Utilities for a period of 60 months with a total lease cost of $41,340 and an estimated maintenance cost of $30,916.20.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Bill to approve the printer lease as stated by Seth. Any other discussion or questions on this lease? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you, Seth. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, next item tonight is our locating software, and David Bailey is here to go over that with us. Hey, David.
Thanks for having me. Basically, I'm just here to renew a contract with Cortera, our locating software. It's a 3-year contract. It provides the software used by our 2 locators now. Our current contract isn't up until September. However, I was contacted by the company. We've only purchased 5,400 locates a year. We were at 9,900 already for this year. So they contacted me and said, you're way over your contract. We recommend bumping it up to the next level. They're not going to charge us any fees or anything for going over or going double our old contract. It would just be the new contract starting. The Cortera software is a 3-year agreement. It would be upgrading from 4,500 tickets to 14,000. So that should cover us for the next few years. Hopefully, we won't be doing more than that. It's a total cost of $24,700 though.
Right. Any questions for David on this item?
This software, you drive by my house and you get my meter reading?
This is not. This is a locating software, does underground utilities.
Okay, all right.
So,
So we're locating a lot of utilities.
when they first signed it, Matt Hutton was actually one that signed it, and we did about 5,000 the first year, and we're at 99 now. So It's went crazy.
Just kind of added to really cool software. It's a upgrading technology. They used to do it on paper. They go out with the wand and locate. With this, they can put it on the wand and they can put it right on the screen on their iPad, know when it's located, and it's just a really good tracking tool. And gosh, with the great upsurge in locates we've had with all development, it's helped us keep our head above water along with our people and David doing a good job with it. So
And this software company they went above and beyond to contact me. We could have just ended up paying more and more money.
Right.
But they contacted me and said, hey, we've been watching your data and you went way over. So let's move to the next level. And so what that did is the ticket price was 54 cents a ticket over on the current. The new one will be 45 cents, anything over the 14,000. So it's even deeper if we do go over.
Okay. Good.
Good info. Thanks, David. Any other questions for David? If not, I entertain a motion.
I move to approve the 3-year CORTIA agreement for locating software in the amount of $24,700.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve the 3-year Cortera agreement for the locating software in the amount of $24,700. Any additional questions for David or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, David, looks like you've got an additional item here, and that's to declare some meters as surplus.
Yeah, so there are two, since I'm the metering supervisor, we do electric and water meters, so I have two items here. As you know, we change out electric meters every year because of either damage or failure, or they stop reading. This year, we've had about 40 meters that we've had to change out. So the resale value of these meters is approximately zero. They're mostly plastic. We actually looked into a company getting them, and we'd had to pay somebody to take them. So if we just throw them away, it's $0. So because the value is under $5,000, we're just going to declare them as surplus and basically just destroy these meters.
These meters have any hazardous components?
Other than an electronic board that we take out. That way nobody can have the proprietary software.
All right. Any other questions for David on this surplus of meters? If not, I entertain a motion.
I move to approve declaring the 40 electric meters as surplus personal property and allow David Bailey to dispose of the items in accordance with IC 5-22-22.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Bill to approve declaring the 40 electric meters as surplus, allowing David to dispose of the items in accordance with IC 5-22-22. Any additional questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, looks like we have the same thing with the water meters, is that right?
That is. Every year we change out about 1,200 water meters. This is part of the board's approved plan to get rid of older meters in the town and update with new technology, as in cellular reading. We were able to change out 1,349, 1,200 for the project, and another 149 that were damaged or beyond repair. Water meters have a value of about $3 each that we recycle. We're not allowed to keep these because they are not considered free of contaminants once we remove them from the ground. The company who we buy water meters from purchases them back from us at $3 a meter. Total cost for 1,349 meters is $4,047. This still falls under the $5,000 for the Indiana code. So we're asking to sell these back to the company that we purchased meters from for $3 a meter, total of $4,047.
All right, pretty straightforward. Any questions on the water meters? If not, I entertain a motion.
I move to approve declaring 1,349 water meters as surplus personal property and allow David Bailey to sell the items in accordance with IC 5-22-22.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Ann to approve declaring the 1,349 water meters as surplus, allowing David Bailey to sell these items for $3 each back to the vendor in accordance with IC 5-22-22. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you, David, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, next item we have is an action item. It's the Cedar Ridge Section 4. Who's going to handle that, Ed? You?
I'll take that one.
Okay.
This is a request for approval for Berriott to install the electric conduit and equipment for Phase 4 of the Housing Addition Cedar Ridge. I'd like to ask the board to approve having Berriott to install the electric conduit with a not-to-exceed amount of $51,940, with all documents to be signed by Ed Baskell or me. We've got a quote from Setco. Berriott and Setco are our two main pre-approved contractors, and we have the work plan and the diagram included. So.
All right, questions about this project with Berriott? Not under, Yep.
You know, we have you know, made a decision that's been confirmed by city council to stop providing, in my phrase, free electric infrastructure to developers, with the provision that folks already in line are grandfathered in, and this is one of those instances. And Jeff has told me that Phase 4 is the last phase for Cedar Ridge. So the number of grandfathers are coming down, and I'm glad to see that.
That's a good point. Thank you, Aaron. Any other comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve Berriott Inc. to install the electrical conduit and equipment for Cedar Ridge Section 4 with the not to exceed amount of $51,940, with all documents to be signed by General Manager Ed Baskell.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Bill to approve Berriott for installation of the electrical conduit and equipment for Cedar Ridge Section 4, the not to exceed amount of $51,940, with our general manager signing the documents. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Looks like Ryan has taken his spot for the next item, which is the Wessler Task Order Number 7, Pretreatment Program Assistance.
Yes, good evening. This is a request for the approval of Wessler Engineering Task Order Number 7, Pretreatment Program Assistance for 2025. Included in this, the most important part of this will be a sewer use ordinance update. They will work with staff and council on updating this. Our last update, I believe, was 2017. And we talked to Bob Holden and Amy Harvell, both from Wessler, and they suggested an update in 2025. And after talking with Ed and staff, we agree that the time is here to make this update. So that update, the progress meetings and the kind of behind the scenes stuff is included in this. And also included in this is our normal pre-treatment assistance provided by Amy Harvell, who was here recently, and the Wessler staff. Inspections, that includes in-person inspections with Tony Green, our pre-treatment supervisor, at all 14 facilities that are in our pre-treatment program. And the paperwork that goes with that, the inspection paperwork and review, IDEM paperwork review before we submit those inspections. And then assistance sampling, anything that we need help with on the pretreatment program. This will be on an hourly basis. So it's not, it's one of those where we get invoiced when we use the service. If we don't, we don't have to pay for that. And it would be a do not exceed. And I can answer any questions that we may have on this.
And this ordinance review also coincides, if I understand correctly, with the
IDEM permit, 5-year permit renewal process also?
That is correct. That's part of the assistance.
All right, anything else for Ryan on this task order? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve task order number 7 from Westland Engineering, Inc. in an amount not to exceed $92,000.
Second.
Motion made by Aaron, seconded by Ann to approve the task order number 7 from Westler Engineering in an amount not to exceed $92,000. Any additional discussion or questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, Ryan, short stay for you tonight, but thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, we have a couple of resolutions that our council will read here on the next 2 items. Looks like the first is Resolution 2024-11.
Thank you, Board. Just to rehash, some months ago, the Board approved a water supply agreement with Citizens Energy to facilitate the secondary water source to the city through Citizens Water. And then also approved the districting of the LEAP Water Rate District, and to come is the LEAP Wastewater District. This resolution is recommending the approval of the financing for that infrastructure within the city of Lebanon for the provision of water to the LEAP district and to improve infrastructure that will benefit the civil rate district. As we discussed in the working session and have discussed for many months, this document references a bond ordinance, which the city council will take up, a master trust agreement and a financing agreement with Indiana Finance Authority, who is assisting through the SRF program, these loans. And part of that will be the next resolution, which is a preliminary engineering report. I know we had a working session and before this and discussed a handful of items, but I'm happy to answer any questions before reading the resolution.
In approving this resolution, are we also approving the ordinance language that we saw?
So we are recommending the form and content of an ordinance to the city council. That is
Are
still
we
within-
also approving the financial assistance agreement when we approve this?
That will be part and parcel of the city council's approval, but we're recommending for the form, content, and substance of the financial assistance
And
agreement.
the same for the master trust agreement.
That is correct, sir.
So when we reviewed in some detail before the working session and during the working session, all these documents. And when we approve this relatively short document that you'll be addressing next, we will in essence be approving all these supporting documents
That is
at
correct.
the same time and recommending them to the city council.
That is. Questions? All right. Resolution 2024-11, a resolution of the Lebanon Utility Service Board recommending to the Common Council of the City of Lebanon, Indiana, the issuance of waterworks revenue bonds for the purposes of funding improvements to the waterworks infrastructure. Whereas the City of Lebanon, Indiana has heretofore established, constructed, and financed a municipal waterworks system and now owns and operates the water system through the Lebanon Utility Service Board and under the administration of Lebanon Utilities in accordance with the provisions of Title 8, Article 1.5 of the Indiana Code. Whereas the Utility Service Board and the utility provide water services to and will construct improvements to provide additional water services to the LEAP district, which consists of approximately 11,000 acres of real property within and proximate to the city. Whereas in order to accomplish the objectives, the Utility Service Board has determined that certain improvements and extensions to the water system are necessary and that plan specifications and estimates have been prepared and filed by the engineers employed by the Utility Service Board for the construction of said improvements and extensions as more fully set forth in Exhibit A attached here too, which may be accomplished in one or more phases, which plans and specifications have been or will be approved by the Utility Service Board and by all governmental authorities having jurisdiction, including particularly the Indiana Department of Environmental Management. Whereas Lebanon Utilities has obtained engineers' estimates for the costs and construction of the project, has advertised for and received proposals for a guaranteed savings contract, and will advertise for and receive bids, which will be subject to the determination in Lebanon Utilities to construct all or a portion of the project and subject to Lebanon Utilities obtaining funds to pay for all or a portion of the project, that on the basis of said engineer's estimate, the maximum cost of the project, including incidental expenses, is an amount not to exceed $250 million. Whereas in connection with the financing of the project, Utility Service Board has determined to establish a separate service area for the purpose of the rates and charges in the financing project for the waterworks system of the city containing the LEAP district. Whereas the Utility Service Board has determined that the project's cost is properly allocable to the LEAP district service area and will be paid with revenues generated by ratepayers of the LEAP district service area. Whereas the Utility Service Board finds that there are no such funds on hand available to apply to the cost of the project and that the entire cost of the project is hereby authorized to be financed by the issuance of waterworks revenue bonds in one or more series, and if necessary, bond anticipation notes in one or more series in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $250 million. Whereas the Utility Service Board recommends to the Common Council of the city that it authorize the issuance of the bonds and/or the notes, and that the city enter into a financial assistance agreement, water infrastructure financial assistance agreement, funding agreement, financial aid agreement, and/or grant agreement, together with any subsequent amendments thereto, with the Indiana Finance Authority as part of its drinking water loan program, supplemental drinking water and wastewater assistance program, water infrastructure assistance program, or water infrastructure grant program established and existing pursuant to Indiana Code sections 5-1 through, 5-1.2 through 5-1.2 4.5. If any of the bonds or notes sold to the IFA through the IFA program. Whereas the city's waterworks is not subject to the jurisdiction of the Indiana Regulatory Commission, whereas to further secure the bonds and notes based upon the recommendation of the city's municipal advisor and legal counsel to the city, the board recommends that the city may enter into one or more indentures of trust, master trust agreements, or bond indentures with a qualified financial institution to serve as trustee, registrar, and paying agent for the bonds or notes. And whereas Utility Service Board now finds that all conditions precedent to this recommendation to the Common Council of the city, that it adopt an ordinance consistent with the resolution authorizing the issuance of the bonds or notes have been complied with in accordance with the provisions of the Act. Now therefore be it resolved by the Lebanon Utility Service Board as follows. 1, Utility Service Board recommends to the Common Council that it adopt an ordinance authorizing the issuance of the bonds or notes for the purposes of financing the cost of the project and the execution and delivery of the financial assistance agreement and/or the trust agreement in substantially similar form of Exhibit B attached here too. All resolutions are part thereof in conflict hereby are hereby repealed. This resolution shall be in full force and effect upon adoption. Passed by the Utility Service Board this blank day, or this 20th day of November 2024. There are 3 exhibits. One is the project description, which matches the PER, which will follow, a depiction of the LEAP rate district, and a form of the bond ordinance, master trust agreement, and financial assistance agreement.
Right, comments, questions for Mr. Jacob on this resolution 2024-11?
See, Jeff, that list of accompanying agreements that I had before,
Yes, sir.
should we also add the amortization schedule to that?
No, if you'll recall from our discussion, that amortization schedule may change slightly, but that will be finalized before the city council.
Okay, thank you.
We will take public comment if, yes, we can. If you'd like to step to the podium and state your name and address, that'd be great. Thank you.
Jody Stewart, Lebanon. I'm just wondering, are we not going to answer Mr. Witzett's question before we vote on this? I believe Mr. Witzett had a question about who allocated all of Lebanon's water, who authorized the allocation of all of Lebanon's water to put us at this point. Now, Lebanon went up to Lafayette and they tried to bring the water down and they were told no. There was also several moratoriums issued from other counties north of us. We were told no. So why are we starting from the bottom now and trying to work our way up? And why did somebody allocate all of our water so that now we have to do that? I think that question needs to be answered before anything is passed and any more money is spent on this LEAP project. You guys right now have the opportunity to say no. And I believe that you guys have been read constitutional rights, and so has the city. So I'm wondering why we are even voting on this tonight. Have you answered Mr. Witzett's questions?
Mr. Jacob, do you want to address the couple of issues that?
Yeah, just a few items. So Mr. Wittzett has tendered a tort claim notice, which is a precursor to filing litigation. So my advice to the utility board is to not directly engage in that answer. However, a couple of answers to your questions. Lebanon did not try to go to Tippecanoe County and take water. That was the Indiana Economic Development Corporation that was exploring that as a project.
Okay.
Right now, the process for purchasing water that's in place is on a first come, first served basis.
Correct.
Any citizen or entity that has an approved project may go and purchase water from the utility. It's first come, first serve.
But they can't
So-
because we have
So,
no
ma'am,
water.
I'm not gonna.
We have
engage-
no water, right? That's the way I understand it. We have no water, and citizens of this community cannot go and they cannot request a building permit. And yes, it was the IEDC that went up north and tried to take water. And yes, it is the IEDC that is right here, right now, asking us for water again. So I don't understand how you guys can pass this when the citizens of this community have already been violated and cannot build until 2027. And we can't build until 2027 because somebody signed off on all of our water.
All right, we appreciate
So-
your comments. We can't extend the
I would
comments too much
request
longer.
that you don't vote on this tonight.
Thanks for your
Thank
comments.
you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board, questions about this specific resolution?
If we pass this resolution, we will have the water that we need in 2027 to start, to restart the water allocations that we need, including that from Mr. Whitsett. Is that correct?
That's correct. That would be a step towards that, yes.
Or if we don't do that, we won't have any water for 2027 if we don't pass this.
You are correct.
And this water that we're getting for a $250 million price tag, the repayment of those at bond principal and interest has been designed in such a way that the ratepayers in the city, the existing ratepayers, will not pay a nickel of it. Is that correct?
That's correct. I would also note that when the Boone County Water Study came out, I believe in 2014, that this was a known issue on the north side of Indianapolis. Many communities participated in knowing what the water capacities were. The utilities studied that issue, and a few years ago, I believe in 2018, recognized that it was going to cost the existing ratepayers, much like people who come here, about $37 million to purchase or access 2 million gallons a day of water. And what has been negotiated at this point is anywhere from 3 to 5 MGD of water that comes into the city for the benefit of the city at the expense of the LEAP district. So at some point, knowing it was a financial issue and a finite resource, the utility and city in conjunction, literally it was a timing issue. So anybody that has applied for water is, for the most part, save for any issue under previous administrations, are all citizens of or entities of within the city limits of Lebanon. So it hasn't gone to the exclusion of one non-citizen or another. I think you raise a very good point.
But it's getting ready to.
That's not correct, ma'am.
Is the IEDC
It's a water being allocated for IEDC, ma'am.
No, because all of our water was already out.
It was, well, I'm not going to, go ahead, sorry.
Okay. We have any other comments for the board on this resolution? Questions? I've been entertaining a motion, if not.
I move to approve resolution number 2024-11, recommending to the Common Council of the City of Lebanon, Indiana, the issuance of waterworks revenue bonds for the purpose of funding improvements to the waterworks infrastructure.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Ann to approve resolution 2024-11, the resolution of the Lebanon Utility Service Board recommending to the Common Council of the City of Lebanon, Indiana, the issuance of waterworks revenue bonds for the purpose of funding improvements to the waterworks infrastructure with Exhibit B from the bond ordinance.
I'd like to add to that to state that is as presented by legal counsel.
Any other questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our second resolution is 2024-12, and this is resolution accepting Indiana's Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program Preliminary Engineering Report. It's also an action item, and our council will read this resolution for us tonight.
Board, this is in conjunction with your preceding resolution. As you're aware, Butler, Fairman, and Seifert was retained and has prepared a preliminary engineering report, which has been provided to the board and reviewed. And it is part of that, where that infrastructure design and cost comes from. This is a resolution going to the Indiana Finance Authority, their state revolving fund program, authorizing the issuance of that report. Happy to answer any questions before reading. Resolution 2024-12, resolution accepting Indiana's Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program Preliminary Engineering Report. Whereas the Lebanon Utility Service Board of the City of Lebanon, Indiana operates a municipally owned utility known as Lebanon Utilities, which provides potable water to its ratepayers through the utilities water system. Whereas the board
finds it in its best interest of the ratepayers, the utility, and the city of Lebanon to expand, improve, and maintain the infrastructure of the water system as generally detailed in attached Exhibit A. Whereas the state of Indiana operates a drinking water state revolving fund loan program that provides low interest rate financing to construct drinking water infrastructure. Whereas the board has caused a preliminary engineering report dated September 25th, 2024, and revised November 15th, 2024, to be prepared by the consulting firm of Butler, Fairman, and Cipher. Whereas the PER has been presented to the public at a properly noticed public hearing held on November 4th, 2024 at the Lebanon Municipal Building, 401 South Meridian Street, Lebanon, Indiana, for public comment. Whereas the board finds that there is not sufficient evidence presented in objection to the water project detailed in the PER, and whereas the board finds that the water project detailed in the PER is necessary for the safe, efficient, and effective operation of the water system. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Lebanon Utility Service Board that 1, the PER dated September 25th, be approved and adopted by the Lebanon Utility Service Board, and 2, said PER be submitted to the State Revolving Fund Loan Program for review and approval, adopted by the Lebanon Utility Service Board this 20th day of 2024. And Exhibit A is the detail of a high-level description of the wholesale water supply description, the water supply phasing, phase 1, 2, and 3. I also note that John Leitner from Butler, Fairman, and Cipher, the author of the preliminary engineering report, is here to answer any questions.
All right, questions about Resolution 2024-12? If you'd like to make comments, we can limit it to 2 minutes since you've made
Safe water drinking fund that we're talking about, Mr. Jacob, that the Indiana Finance Authority has approved and said that they will agree to take from this fund, which is a clean drinking water fund and is not meant for infrastructure? Is this the one we're talking about?
It's their potable water loan fund program.
Okay, so is that part of the clean drinking fund that they are taking from that should be being used for people that need clean drinking water?
No, this is an infrastructure construction loan program. It's not for the purchase of water. It's a loan program for financing infrastructure to provide drinking water infrastructure.
Okay, so is this the same fund that the IFA authority signed a document and presented that to you?
I'm not
And
sure.
it wasn't Elise?
I'm not
It
sure.
was somebody else last meeting?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Okay, well, if we are talking about the Clean Drinking Water Fund, and I'm not sure that we are, and I'm not sure that you know if we are, I don't think the Indiana Finance Authority is legally obligated to use that fund for infrastructure. So again, I wonder.
Yep, thanks. We appreciate your comments.
I wonder about that.
Thank you.
I'd like to comment.
Okay.
The IFA has determined that and stated in an opinion that's attached to the PER that the fund is being used properly. I can't find any reason personally, after reviewing the IFA comments and previous comments by our legal counsel, that a significant portion of what we're talking about will benefit our citizens as well as the elite district going forward. So I am comfortable with our legal counsel's input and IFA's legal input that the funds are being used properly for this loan purpose.
Yeah, I don't think we're in a position here to debate this specific resolution, but yeah, thank you.
I would like to add on to Commissioner Smith's comments that we, just for whoever might be watching on television, we did have a public meeting dedicated to the preliminary engineering report. We had about an hour session where we showed the maps and answered questions, and we had probably about half an hour to 45 minutes of public comment. So we did do a lot of due diligence on this with the public. So thank you.
All right, any other questions on Resolution 2024-12? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve Resolution 2024-12, accepting Indiana's Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program Preliminary Engineering Report.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve Resolution 2024-12, the resolution accepting Indiana's Drinking Water State Revolving Fund Loan Program Preliminary Engineering Report. Additional questions or discussion?
Would like to also add that it's as presented by legal counsel.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right. Next item is the Project Domino Memorandum of Understanding, Project Domino Water Supply and Wastewater Capacity Pre-Allocation Agreement. This item will be tabled to a future date. We have a special meeting on November 25th at 4 p.m. And am I correct in stating that this will be tabled tonight?
Yes, please. That would be my request. The document is not ready for board's consideration. There's still changes. Apologies for that.
All right, so we need a motion to table that.
I make a motion that we table item number 14 until November the 25th at 4 p.m.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Ann to table item 14 to our next meeting or future special meeting. Any additional discussion or questions on that? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, approval of our claims, payroll, and transfers dated November 20th, 2024. Everyone had a chance to review those items? If so, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the claims payroll transfers dated November 20th, 2024 in the amount of $2,696,309.56 for claims and payroll and $0 for transfers.
Second.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Bill to approve our claims, payrolls, and transfers dated November 20th, 2024. Any additional questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, anyone from the board have any other business tonight? We offer public comment again at the end if there's any additional comment. Okay, our next meeting, we have a special meeting scheduled as mentioned on November 25th, 4 p.m., followed by our next regularly scheduled meeting on December 4th, 2024 at 5 p.m. If there's nothing else tonight, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Ann. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. We stand adjourned.
Tim, you want to get together with John and Ryan? Well, let me just talk about it right now. Yeah.